Happy New Year, everyone. I hope everybody's having a good time. 2022 is now drawn to a close, but it's a new beginning for 2023. I could not think of a better way to do this episode to do that. So, today we're going to be reviewing ChocoPro 281, which is day 2 of the 5-day shows they're going to be throwing. There are about 3 matches. I believe the first 2 are singles matches, and of course, the Joshi girls take the stage at the main event. 3-on-3. And of course, we got All Japan Pro Wrestling with the Xmas Maniax. We have many wrestlers coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Young Lions as well. And we have LIJ members. We've brought in, of course, the former members of Suzuki-gun. And we got the Joshi wrestlers making their first appearance in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Plus, we also got some news updates. We definitely got to be sharing what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So let's begin with ChocoPro 281. This one is on exactly on New Year's Eve. It opened up with Chon Shiru versus Masahiro Takanashi. Now these two have been the most, they have tagged together, but they have been the best rivals throughout the entire ChocoPro entirety. I mean, I know that they have challenged themselves in different matches, but who could deny of their abilities? Now, this was one of the most toughest matches I've ever seen come across them. I'm sure they wanted to end the year with one of them winning the match. That's always been the case, but however, they exceeded their time limit. I'm not sure if it's 15 minutes they reached or 20. Not 100% sure yet, but it was a good one. So sooner or later, they might want to have another rematch over this. Now our next match is a tag team match. We have, oh my bad, it was our tag team match. We have for our second match is a tag team match. We have Shun Suzuki teaming up with Minoru Suzuki taking on Toru Owachi. Now, his tag partner was originally supposed to be Sayuri, but however, due to her getting ill, she was replaced with Yasu Aruno, a very capable wrestler, but however, much of the match were trying to take down the big person, the one person who is considered the threat, and that is, of course, Toru Washu. But while they were focusing on him, they forgot about was it Yasu, because they didn't consider him as a threat, but he was the one who picked up the pinfall by applying an inside cradle to Shin Suzuki. So I think that was a big mistake out of their part, believing that um, Toru Washu was in fact the X Factor, but no. So it was reverse psychology on this one. Hopefully that's the case. In our main event, we have the Joshi girls taking place. First team, we have Tokiko Kirihara teaming up with Sayaka and Koshikawa, taking on Maya Yusuba, Sayaka Obihiro and Mei Suruga. Now, this was a very interesting matchup. Now, as a fan who's been watching ChocoPro, I always did believe there's always an X factor in this match. To me, I feel the X factor is the second team, Yotsuba, Obihiro, and Saruga. The reason I say that is because Mia is the newest girl on the planet. She hasn't picked up a single win just yet. I mean, she has won Jonka tournaments. That's about it. But an actual wrestling match, no. So that kind of puts it into the favor of the other team. Now, there have been some moments you probably would have thought, okay, Mei Sugar would have tried to pull something out of a rabbit's hat, but no, it did not work. But it was Chiko Shikawa who targeted Mia Yotsuba, who is, of course, the weakest link of the team. But, of course, Chiko Shikawa actually pulled off the win by applying a submission move onto Mia, but she had no other choice but to tap out. So, like I said, it was exactly the way I thought. Now, for a jogging tournament, I can tell you this. Mei Suga managed to make it to the semifinals, but no way she made it through. Neither Mia, but however, Shin Suzuki was able to make it, but not through him. He brought his daughter along for the ride, and she was the one who won. She beat Jonchidu. She beat I forgot who did she beat, but it was so funny. But however, she lost to Masa, and everybody booed him. I thought it was hilarious that happened, but it's just so awesome. But I loved it. So Masa won the chocolate, but uh, I just can't believe they brought his daughter to work day. But it was so great. So I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. So I'll be reviewing day 3 on the next episode. But right now, let's do our final episode, which is All Japan Pro Wrestling, Xmas Maniac. Okay, All Japan Pro Wrestling with their Xmas Maniacs. It took place in Corkin Hall exactly on Christmas Day. So let's talk about that. Our first match, we have Rising Hayato taking on Kaz Hayashi, who I've seen many times at GLEAT. So he makes his appearance taking on this young junior heavyweight. So it was a pretty interesting match to to watch, but however, it was like a somewhat of a like the similar move as what's her name, the bunny with the rabbit hole that sealed the deal for him to defeat Hayato. I think Hayato was not so pleased or shocked. Just can't believe he lost to a veteran because he always feels like this is a young man's game, but it did not. Next match we have, of course, tag team action. We have Minoru Tanaka teaming up with Gun Heed of Anarchy, consistent of Masao Hanabakare, Yusuke Kodama, and Ryuki Honda to take on the members of Voodoo Murders, consistent of Toshisa, Jun Saito, Rei Saito, and Taru. Now, much of this team I did not know much because last time I checked, Minoru Tanaka was in fact a member of Voodoo Murders. Now, for some odd reason, he seems like he's no longer part of that group. Don't know why, but I'm going to presume that he might have been kicked out. Or, I don't know. It's still an unanswered question, but it was a good match. Now, Voodoo Murders took the advantage by attacking, of course, their opponents right away. But, however, it was the Jun Saito who picked up the pinfall onto Masao, giving them the win. But in the post match, Minoru Tanaka attacked his former tag partner and began the brawl. But however, the members of the GOA tried to separate them, but no go. The Voodoo Murders are trying to reclaim their territory. That's always been the case for them. Now we got an interesting singles match. We have this young, talented wrestler named Naoya Nomura taking on Yoshitatsu. Now this match ended less than I think over 2 minutes, and it was in fact a jackknife by Nomura who sealed the deal onto Yoshitatsu to give him the win. Next up, we got interesting trios match. We have Yano teaming up with Blackman Sori and Tajiri to take on Dan Tamura, Tomoaki Hamna, and of course Blue Justice Yuji Nagata. So I thought it was interesting to see members of the New Japan roster being in this match, but it was good. But the obvious question is, will Toru Yanu's tricks always play out in All Japan? We know it plays out pretty well in New Japan, but in All Japan, that's a different story. However, it did give him the advantage when he applied, as Connor Kevin Kelly would say, my monitor went out, and then of course we had the follow up. It was a miss by Tajiri onto Tamura. 1, 2, 3. Yano, Blackman Sari, and Tajiri win. Now, our next match, we have the Young Lions of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kosei Fujita, Rohi Oiwa, and Yuto Nakashima. Now, this is a bit of a rivalry between the New Japan Young Lions and the Young Boys of All Japan. Now, you always try to presume who has the better system, who had the better training. And I think in this one, it showed maybe right now is New Japan, because All Japan are trying to get back on top, but they haven't been in that level for many years. So it was, of course, the Young Lions who picked up the win thanks to Rohei Oiwa, no, Kosa Fujita, with the Boston Crab onto the opponent. Name what's their name? Their opponents, I think it was Yuma Anzai, Riho Inoue, and of course Hokuto Omori. But it was Inoue who picked up the fall by being in the Boston Crab. So pretty good win from them. So let's move on to the next match. Next up, we got two former tag partners. We have Takao Omori taking on Manabu Soya, who you guys may have seen in Pro Wrestling Noah. So he faces his own tag team partner. Man, this was a battle of the Haas. Awesome match. I technically loved it, but it was Manabu Soya with a big lariat that sealed the deal for him to pick up the win. Now, this is the match that everybody definitely would want to see. We have the first time ever the Joshi wrestlers making their appearance. Recently, we have been seeing Joshi Wrestling appearing in many Japanese, the like New Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah. However, this one we have, of course, Team 200 kilogram, consistent of you, who is the same you who won the Goddess Tag League with Nanae Takahashi. She teams up with her actual partner, Chihiro Hashimoto, and they team up with Tsuji Ishikawa. Their opponents is Suwama. He teams up with the members of Ozaki-gun from Oz Academy, Mayuhiki, and Mayumi Osaki. However, Osaki is very devious. She doesn't play by anybody's rules. She even uses the chain to include that she was going to win this match. But I like how there was the strength of Team 200 kilogram that would try to put them on the map to ensure they can win the match. And I thought it was good. However, the red mist played out for Ozaki-gun on both Hashimoto and Yu, but it was Suwama who picked up the win by applying the backdrop onto Ishikawa, giving them the win. I'm sure Maya and Mayumi were gloating to see that no matter what they do, they will always be on top of them. So that's always been the scenario. Now our next match, our main event. This is I think one of my favorite ones because of the who's in the match. We have Asushi Aogi, Kinto Miyahara. They team up with Uncle Nobu, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Taichi. They take on LIJ's Bushi and Sonata, and they team up with Yuma Agoy, and Jake Lee. Now this was a pretty good match. Not to mention I was like very, very interesting. Now some of you are saying, uh, aren't these guys with New Japan? Yes, but prior, some of these guys came from All Japan. Excuse me. So anyway, I thought it was a good match, but however, no one picked up the pinfall. It ended after 30 minutes, so it went to a time limit draw. So it was like, damn it. So, but it was a good match. But I was happy to see Taichi and Kanemaru. I wouldn't be surprised if Taichi forms his own faction. But seeing um, Lij there, it's great because both Bushi and Sonata originate from All Japan prior to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's great too. So, what I thought about the show, I have to say the last two matches were good. Um, and I think that's about it. I enjoyed the last two matches. So, if you guys want to check it out, go to watchprowrestling.org and you'll see it right there. And I think right now, let's move on to our last final thing, which is news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Now, as you know, we just had Stardom's final show of 2022, Dream Queendom. We were introduced by two new girls, foreign girls. One of them has been with Stardom before. We're talking about Zaya Brookside, and of course, our newest member, Mariah May. If you guys aren't familiarized with her, you may have seen her on Rev Pro and Progress Wrestling. Now, this group known as Dark Pre-Russo Flosion were able to get in contact with Mariah May and asked her a few questions. So this is what she had to say. You made your Stardom debut at Dream Queendom and formed Club Venus together with Mina Shirakawa and Zaya Brookside. What can the fans expect from you and Club Venus in Stardom? She answers, it has been a dream of mine since I started wrestling to one day wrestle in Japan for Stardom. I've trained very hard and this is just the start of my development. I I am excited to train at the dojo and work at the top of female wrestling company in the world. I wanted to make an impact and joining with Mina and Zaya, two talented and charismatic wrestlers, to form the team Club Vixen was the perfect storm. Their question: what are your goals in Stardom for you and Club Venus? As Mina said, welcome to our dream. We are working hard to be successful in the Triangle Derby and ultimate, ultimately win the Artists of Stardom Championship. This is one of our dreams. Have you have wrestled me against Zaya Brookside? You have wrestled against Zaya Brookside a couple of times, but never against or with Mina. How did the two between the two of you connect with Mina, and the idea of forming Club Venus come about? Mina scouted us in the UK and invited us to form the team. The CWA title is currently vacant with the rules of it would fit as a great champion. That can be defended against everyone in Stardom. Is that a title you have your eyes on? This is definitely interesting. I have heard many fans talk about this for me since I debuted. I have my eyes set on the CWA title. Many British women, uh, when, before me have held it alongside wrestlers such as Sudi. It has a great heritage. I will work my hardest to make this possibility. Now, the final question. Club Venus faces a lot of different trios in the Triangle Derby. In which trios or wrestlers are you most interested to share the ring with? My match list is endless in Japan. Uh, but specifically for our tournament, I am most interested in my debut match against Lollipop of Waka Tsukiyama, Rina Mikura, and Yuko Sakurai. This is the first time people will see what I can do and what Club Venus can do. I can't wait. So many people are now talking about the CWA title. Now, if you guys remember, this title was vacant thanks to Mayu Iwatani decided to focus more on the IWGP Women's Championship. Now, I know some. This is what I find offensive with people. There are people that I've been hearing are saying Mina doesn't deserve to win the white belt. I like to say, you guys are a bunch of morons. You guys are trying to say she's better off with the CWA title. I think that's very irresponsible of you guys to say that. But however, I think having the CWA title back would fit mostly with Mariah May or Xia Brookside. I think that's the idea because I feel from what I'm seeing, Mina's not going to give up on the white belt, no matter what you guys say. I'm not saying this for saying, I'm saying from what I'm observing. So that is something. And I think others are saying that Mariah may be the perfect candidate for that belt. So don't ever say that Mina doesn't deserve to be white belt champion. She will be white belt champion because a lot of fans are saying she deserves it. Now, moving on. Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling has announced Grand Princess is returning back on March 18th at the Ariake Coliseum. I think this is the same Coliseum that we saw the historic crossover, so we're excited. No announcements what matches will be taking place, so I'll be putting a pin on this one. I mentioned before, GLEAT has announced for their next GLEAT show coming up real soon. They just announced for another G Pro Wrestling version 40 will take place on the 18th of January, and it will be at Shinjuku Face. No announcements who will be participating just yet, but I'll keep a prize on that. And finally, we have updates coming from West Coast Pro. The first one is from Can You Work Fridays, which take place real soon on the 6th of January. We have Robert Murdoch, Martyr, taking on that scumbag Charles Mason. And the Bounty Hunter will take on the Bull, Black Taurus. I have to say, I'm more interested in the Bounty Hunter trying to tangle with the Bull. Now, the following month on the 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, 3 names have been announced to be making their appearance in the show. First one is Kevin Knight from the LA Dojo. Next, we have current AEW star Lee Moriarty. And then finally, Starboard Charlie. I'm excited for all that. So hopefully I get to see that when if someone requested to put it on the watchprowrestling.org. But we just gotta wait and see. I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I'll be doing more on ChocoPro. Now, I still got a long list of wrestling I haven't seen. I will be covering what's left of the December events. There is a Pro Wrestling Wave I haven't seen. This is date back on the 18th of December. Not sure what to expect on that one, but I'm looking forward to it. This one, even though it's a little farther off, that will not stop me. We do have some DDT event, of course, Gambari Pro, and many other things. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's pretty much it what we're going to do. So I'm going to wing it, see how it goes. If you guys are wondering how come I didn't do New Japan Strong, they had the best of 2022. I felt like it was unfair for me to do that because I already seen many of their matches throughout 2022, so there's no point to that. So we'll see what happens. So stand by for the next episode, but this episode will be uploaded very soon. So I will be working on it, and then hope you guys enjoy it. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.